Actual Steel Toe fan says they actually got some pretty dope merch, Toe. It's good. That's you know what?
Not bad.
I'll tell you this. You can confess that publicly, and you can deal with God when you die. Do they have one that says I harass and bully women who are victims of physical abuse? I mean, Haley could get that one, and Jackie they could book because they like to harass women who have had their wrist broken by their boyfriend.
She is not. She is definitely not. She's definitely a domestic abuse fucking denier. And
so now she's only back, I guess, because you popped up next to her and had questions for her. But the questions that we had for her were from a previous conversation that we had on Twitter that she avoided. They were very specific. It wasn't there to attack her.
No, and I asked the question wrong. Like, looking back, I would have asked it completely different because I do actually want to know the answer to it. Because I'll just say this real quick. So when it comes to the whole Alex situation, like, we've talked to her and we've heard some of one side. We don't know all of the other side. So based on interactions that we had with her, with Keanu on X around that situation that she had with that, I didn't ask the question appropriately because every time we had brought up Alex in this little Twitter beef or whatever that was going on, every time we asked her that question, she would stop responding on that thread and go to another thread to insult us. And then we asked about Alex again, and then she would leave that thread and go to another. Like, there was like 6 different threads where she was like talking shit. And I mean, and we were talking shit too. Like, let's be honest, you know?
Sure.
But every time we would ask her about it, she would just stop responding. And that's how the conversation stopped, because we just kept asking about it. And then she just stopped responding. And I want to, like, why? And why is it that she's coming out saying that Keanu is a liar and that she was telling people that, you know, Alex and this other person were the bad people in that
this
whole
is for you, Jackie.
that I do.
Okay.
And somehow I thought that these 2 women, one is named Jackie. That's the one that looks like Kathy Bates in Misery. And one is named Haley, and she is the slut-shaming redhead. I thought they were better. So in the midst of this whole, you know, how long was I on this little piggy podcast? Maybe an hour and a half. In the midst of all of that, when I would start to make a point, something else would happen. Then they brought in backup, and that would be Jackie, okay, from the Pretty AntiSocial podcast. All of a sudden, she was there. Oh.
So hold on. First of all, they brought in backup. I was sent the link. I couldn't make it. I gave it to Jackie, and then she had to like clean up because she had been sweating from exercising and whatever, running around the house with her kids. So for backup, do you really think that we sat there and we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? They were like, I got it. I know. Call Jackie. Like,
so weird. The moment I make a point, then a super tip comes up or something happens.
Oh yeah, a super tip did come up.
Super dip.
It was super dip.
So every time she tried to make a point, a super tip came up, and he had it on the autoplay. Like, obviously she doesn't get anything. It's like, why even bother? But anyway, so that was also against her.
This woman, she's crossed a fucking line with me now.
You girl.
I was nice.
I crossed the line.
Nice. These Pretty AntiSocial. That's the Pretty AntiSocial podcast. I'm not going to fucking pretend I don't know the name of it. This fucking woman crossed a fucking line with me. It was disgusting. It was abhorrent. And I'm going to show you why and how. And then, so at some point when Nick is yelling, they bring in this troglodyte, Kathy Bates looking evil woman. And I realize that it sounds like I'm being harsh, but I'm not. I am not okay with this. This is the most disturbing thing. I can deal with dudes being like, stupid whore, you are dumb. A woman with children and a husband, apparently, who I've joked around with, but actually been pretty nice to, comes in and tries to do some sort of like.
Do you feel like she's been nice to you?
No.
She came in and tried to talk to me about my domestic abuse story. It's not a story. It's just a fact. And asked me why I didn't warn more women.
Stop. Now, the point she's getting ready to make is that we knew about when she went, you know, the New York Post wrote up their article and the picture she sent, and the Daily Mail, you know, picked it up and ran the story also. The question, the first time I asked it back in the fall, or no, I guess it was in March, about this when it came out, when it was published, was why now? And whether the whole question around whether or not you warned any women. We were talking specifically about the time right before you started dating him, and right after doesn't even matter as much to me, really. But people tried to warn her, from what we have been told, that she was warned over and over, that everyone in the comedy scene, like, he had already had that reputation, and that people came directly to her and were like, yo, here's some problems that I had. He was my ex. He broke my collarbone. He did, this and that, this and that. They warned you, and you ran cover for him. And whether or not you just didn't want to believe it or whatever, you hands down were like, that's not true. That's not true. So we were curious.
Called those ladies liars.
Right. So it's like, the question is more like, why now? Because it's like, okay, after you had your own personal experience with it, and you're in this comedy scene where they are at, it's like, why is this coming up now? It was an honest question. And if you had just answered it, I would have accepted whatever the answer was and moved on. It was an honest question. It wasn't a gotcha.
So when I'm making a point, right, with Nikki Little Boy Rackets, she comes in, brings that up, and says that, why didn't I warn more women about it? You crossed the line with me, you dumpy little bitch. And I'll explain why. Here we go. Let's watch it. Ba-ba-bum. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so this is the point of the program on this little piggy, where I reveal that, oh my gosh, the last time the phone call happened was not the time that Nick wanted it to be. And then he goes, was it an alcohol?
Yeah.
And challenge me on it. When it's recorded, he pled guilty, he broke my wrist, but we'll get into it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever denied that.
I mean, he makes that's little Nikki Rackets trying to be like, wait, you were talking to her after the date that I said?
Hang on.
Then Patrick Melton goes away. Come on in.
Yeah, there's a little I that's for information next to it. I think that's what gives you the
Jesus.
No, all I see is a phone. I see is a phone thing. But I might just a little woman, a little fucking woman. Your children, like Mercedes, must be proud. All of these people fucking deserve themselves. Deserve each other.
You
excuse
must be
me.
Fat then too.
I never knew that because I knew what was going on with me, and that's the thing. True. I'm not lying.
You're a monster,
and he's now complaining that he would drug her and steal her money. So he sounds like a great guy.
Jesus Christ, months. So does that make sense? Jackie, I'm genuinely asking you. Does that make sense? I'm trying to talk to her. Right.
Did you try to warn anybody else after you dated him about him?
You are a stupid, evil person. You're a stupid, evil person. She wants the clicks. That's all she wants.
Hold on. Pause that shit. The way in which I asked the question, was it combative? Was it like, you didn't do this? Or was it actually like, well, a genuine question? What did you do? Did you do anything to?
She goes on to basically say there was a restraining order. They sealed the case.
Yeah.
And so she just didn't. She was like, what was I supposed to do? Follow him around and find his girlfriends and stuff? No. The whole entire point was this was within a small community. You were warned beforehand. We were asking an honest question. It wasn't a fucking gotcha.
No, it wasn't. Was I yelling at her? Was I like being like, you didn't do enough? No. When she was answering my question, did I interrupt or did I listen?
Right.
I listened. And then I asked a follow-up question. This whole clip, this whole time, she has talked the whole time. The only time that you have seen me say anything in this clip was, did you do anything to warn any other women after you left him?
Yeah. Well, she took that as that's what I mean. You can't talk to her. You can't reason with her. She can't be on the same page. She cannot it's just like it fizzles out. The synapses go and she can't think.
Here's the thing is that, and it's the only time that we actually ever talked about her Jason Scoop thing was when we were reviewing one of Aaron's shows, and he had brought it up. The only reason why we had played the clip is because we thought it was weird that he would talk about Keanu's situation with domestic violence and then also bring April into it. And that was it was 2 minutes that you had asked, well, why now? And then we moved on. And then we moved on. And then over that weekend or whatever, we had like the back and forth with her on X about the whole thing. And then that's what I said to you. we defended her on things, saying that we never said we didn't believe that something happened to her, that she got beat. We never said we did not believe her. We wrote it on X. People are giving us shit for saying that we believed her. And we're like, all right, well, give us shit, because I do believe that she got hurt. Like, come on. And when people were out there being like, yeah, Team Scoop, we shut that shit down the second that it happened and the second that we saw it on our page. So, yeah, you can go eat a dick, because we know you like it for Coke.
He's a stupid, I guess, Midwestern, rotund.
It was a joke, by the way. Don't take it like I really think that.
She will, though. She will.
I know.
Because you're attacking her here, okay? How dare you?
You're a stupid, evil person. She wants the clicks. That's all she wants. She's a stupid, I guess, Midwestern, rotund wine mom that I thought wasn't actually that bad of a person. But this is fucked up. And they know. I hope somebody one day, asks your daughter or whatever. Yes, for attention. I hope why do you think I make fun of your kids? You're sitting upstairs with your headphones in your giant, lumpy, disgusting sweater, thinking you're going to come in here and fucking like, I know what'll trigger Keanu. Let's talk about Jason Scoop. When you know fucking exactly what fucking happened. Do you realize what she just asked me? Why didn't I try and warn more women?
Is that what I asked?
More people?
No.
I didn't warn enough people. You guys, I didn't warn enough people. Talking to the New York Post about it, which
that's not what I asked.
This isn't warning enough people. Let's take a look here. This isn't warning enough people. So what does it say? Trump impersonator who trolled Alec Baldwin is abusive monster who broke ex's wrist after another male comic texted her. Court records. Pled guilty, fucking broke my wrist. It wasn't the only thing he did to me. Is this not warning more people? Is that not warning people? Jackie, Pretty AntiSocial. Is that not warning more women? I talked to Daily Mail too. Yes, it was later when they were fucking trying to do a story on him. But
right. That was my question. Was why now? And what in that time period before? It was an honest question. And I'm sorry that you took it personal, but it was just a yes or no. Here's why.
But
I'll say this, and it's actually kind of sad because it says a lot about how she thinks about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you actually listen to the question and how I asked it, it wasn't aggressive. It wasn't like a gotcha, it was a genuine question.
Right.
Then why is she taking it like I'm like, you didn't do enough? I didn't say that. I just asked if she did. I don't know what it's like in the comedy scene or the close-knit communities that you're in. Did you do anything? Did you say anything?
What we do know is when she saw him with like when she was prepped and said, hey man, like, and warned about this dude, she was like, you're lying. That never happened. He's not physical. And then later on, I don't know how soon it started with her. I have no idea, but it was more about like, okay, when you did find out, because this, like I said, it was sealed. And that was a couple, like, I don't know how many years ago, several, I think 2017 or 18 or something. Point being, it's all these years later, it's an honest question.
Yeah.
It wasn't a gotcha, dude.
And I honestly do want to know how it got sealed. Like, how did that get sealed? Like, that's kind of fucked up.
I don't know. And if it's something to where she couldn't talk about it, like that was the honest question. Is it because it was sealed and you weren't allowed to? What happened to where now you can? It was an honest question, bro. Like, back up. Okay.
Dreams. I've talked about it. It's fucked up. We'll go back to the clip. But yes, is this not warning enough people? You can look up the Daily Mail article as well, Pretty AntiSocial podcast. Is that not?
Yes. And we know how that happened. You had a friend that was a comedian that brought your name up when she was doing a video about the Baldwin stuff. She tagged you and it brought your name up. Daily Mail and New York Post were also contacted. We understand how this happened. Okay. Further, that would be, if anything else, that would be like to her credit. Like, no, you weren't running around like trying to get their attention to, get them to do this story. We were trying to have your fucking back, but you can't. You talk about how we can't, like, we're blinded by hatred for you, so we can't see things the way that they are. It's the opposite. We were trying to have your back as a woman, not a believe all women kind of thing, but it's like, obviously this happened. We were trying to have your back, and that's why we asked like the timeline of events. It wasn't that like,
warning enough women. And it's weird to me. It's just fucking weird to me that this little fucking rotund Kathy Bates looking bitch comes in. Did you try and warn any women of this? What do you fucking call this? And you two fucking rotund slut shaming, A-logging, stupid cunts. And I'm sorry, you are. Knew that this happened and you fucking criticized me for it. And I'll show you that clip too. I have it in the queue. So,
she has a clip of us criticizing her for being abused.
Yeah, that's where we're at now. She just said, yes, it was later that she warned people. That was exactly my reason for asking why now. It wasn't a gotcha. I was just curious why she chose that time to help New York Post and whoever else was picking up the story. And then, okay, so she says she thinks we came in to throw her off. I said, no, dumbass. We had no reason to interrupt what was happening with you and Nick. So and Jackie really did. She was having problems with her computer. I've got messages showing like, oh my God, I can't get it. I'm gonna have to restart this. Like she was screwed up and didn't even know what you were saying. But it says, so we asked questions you had been dodging on Twitter instead about Alex.
Yep.
It wasn't planned. She said that herself, but now we're masterminds of this little piggy and know how to rock her brain, apparently. She thinks we don't know about the women she knew he was dating in the comedy scene. We spoke to at least one who has filled us in on a lot of it. I'm going to skip over that link. It's like a minute. Well, it's like 6 minutes long. So she brings up an old stream of us when the New York Post article was written. Mm-hmm. Our children should be ashamed of us. These are my notes, and it's only a couple minutes long. She finally answers us and says she told everyone she could think of in the comedy community. That was the point of the question on TLP. It wasn't a gotcha.
Well, obviously, he was not supposed to be around me. I didn't want to be around him. I was fucking terrified of him. I told everybody I could in the comedy community. Was I supposed to go and knock on the doors of his, like, if he had other girlfriends, I was supposed to go and knock on their doors and warn them? Is not talking to the New York Post or the Daily Mail enough? But these two are hypocrites. It
is, but the only reason I had that question is because there were years in between. And my curiosity was with the sealed case. Like, how does that even come to pass? I was generally curious and wanted to know that answer. It was like, what happened in that amount of time? Not what did you do, in that time frame, but like, how did that happen? Why is it, are you just now able to talk about it? What's the deal? It was an honest fucking question.
Hypocrites, because right here, this is after those articles came out. And they questioned me on it. These two fucking hideous wine moms, the slut-shaming hillbilly and fucking Kathy Bates in Misery, they questioned me on why now? Why now? You two are a fucking problem. You're the problem. You're not a good person. You're not good people. You're just not. So
you wouldn't call me that.
The charge. There's a restraining order. There's
what? What'd you say? So Aaron's talking about the New York Post article I just showed you. They're giggling, which is really very nice. And then here we go.
All of this stuff. I mean, it's out there. There's photos. There's photos and documents, the whole deal. So this Trump impersonator guy who trolled Alec Baldwin, Keanu comes out because she's like, now wait, let me think about this. Think about it for a minute. This guy it becomes famous. You have to see his face everywhere. And this guy stomped on your hands until he broke your wrist. I mean,
it's traumatizing. And I wouldn't exactly call him famous. I would just call him like he had some heat because does a shitty Trump impersonation and stalks.
Does that really matter in the whole grand scheme of things?
Anyway, let's go.
So you gotta say something at that point. He's everywhere.
Well, that was sort of the interesting thing about it that was why he was in the news to begin with. So, excuse me for wondering what that was about, because the comedian that did the video she's got like her little trans scarf on, doing her thing. And I was literally trying to like test the waters and see what it was I was looking at here. It wasn't like anyway.
Where he's all over the place.
Bingo. That's your best gal friend. He goes, so you got to say something. Do you though? I thought I was supposed to warn all women, Jackie. You fucking hideous monster.
Hold on. Yes, I said, do you though? Because it was all these years later, and it was not until there was some big news story about this dude like heckling a movie star, and these different larger website newspapers wanted to know more about you. Your friend named you specifically, and then of course your name you showed up in the Instagram comments, and it went from there. When you took it to Twitter, you were tagging the shit out of New York Post, Daily Mail, and all of that. I applaud you for trying to tell more people. Like you're getting it wrong here. I said, do you though? Because I'm like, why would she use? I don't I can't connect the two exactly. Like, why would you bring up something super traumatic about this unless you were trying to stick it to the person? Because that's the way that it works in news. You have some kind of little, shuffle happen between someone that's famous or a movie star or a politician or whatever, and they go to dig up dirt on that person. So to me, I'm looking at it sort of from that angle too. And I'm like, is she doing it because she's just trying to stick it to him and hurt him? Is it because this has been released now? This like sealed case has been released and now she can talk about it. So she's like wanting to do that? Because to me, that's something that you would do separately, where you would go to these outlets and be like, hey, I'm a victim. I came with this other victim over here, because you actually ended up dragging someone else into it that didn't want to be a part of it, but did it and asked that their last name not be used because they didn't want to go back through the trauma again, but did it for the greater good, I guess. And to be like, yes, I want to join in with this person that I don't even get along with to like report this on this man. But it's just, I have a right to ask questions about it when I don't understand what it is I'm seeing. Okay. And if you're insulted by that, I don't know what to tell you.
There's a charge, like there's a restraining order. There's
what? What'd you say?
All of this stuff. I mean, it's out there. There's photos. It happened. You know, I mean, there's photos and documents, the whole deal. So this Trump impersonator guy who trolled Alec Baldwin, Keanu comes out because she's like, now wait, I mean, think about this. Think about it for a minute. This guy it becomes famous. You have to see his face everywhere. And this guy stomped on your hand until he broke your wrist. I mean,
I wouldn't be happy about that.
You gotta say something at that point. I mean, this guy goes viral. He's everywhere. He's all over the place.
I gotta tread super lightly with this, huh? Look, man. Yeah. I just don't know how this is super helpful other than dragging someone that obviously physically hurt her. Now, look, let me say this. Obviously, physical abuse of any woman by any man is not cool. You know, it's like nobody thinks that's okay. But it's just very odd to me that it's like this guy, you know, is in the news for heckling Alec Baldwin, and all of a sudden that story shifts to, oh, but here are these pictures of me where he beat me up and broke my wrist, and which I don't know, I haven't seen anything on the wrist thing. I believe her. I don't know why she would lie about it, but I have seen the pictures of her face, you know, being bruised up and whatever. But it's just very strange. Like, as someone who has had stuff happen to her, domestic violence wise, it's not like I personally, and we're very different people, Keanu and I think you know that by now. We're very, very different people. But I would not be like, oh, hey, also he did all this. Like, it for me, it would re-traumatize me, I think. And it's something where it's like that's such a personal thing that it looks just like vengeance. Like, I'm going to get him back because he's in the news now. So let me bring up, and I'm not saying it's right. Like I said, no man should ever put his hands on a woman. But it's like, I don't know. To me, it's just, it gives me the icks. And it gives me the icks. It should never happen to anybody. I hate that it happened to her. It should never happen to any woman. I'm not like victim shaming at all. I just think it's very strange for there to, you know, be some stuff going on that was not related in any way in the news. And then she tags New York Post 3 or 4 times to get their attention so that she can get her. It just feels like more of the same, more of the same, like opportunistic, you know, and I'm sorry, but it's just like when there's so many things. Well, I mean, what does she get out of it and maybe it helps her through that trauma. Like I see both sides of the coin. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's helping her to, I don't know, sort of sit in it and
well, and also, you know, you have this guy who's also trying to make a name for himself in like this space and stuff, and maybe like wanting people to be like, yeah, don't praise him too hard because he's a piece of shit.
But again, like, okay, like that's, and obviously he's not great at all, not a good person, especially when it comes to relationships. And Keanu apparently is not the only one that he got physical with. But then in the same way, it's like, I don't know, it just feels very strange to bring up and it not be for a bigger reason. And like I say, I'm trying to play both sides of the coin. If it helps her through her trauma, okay, sure. But from what I understand, like even those records are sealed. So it's not something where like if you were looking into him, you would find this information. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. It's just weird. Just stop hiding behind the victim card. That I don't like. That's icky to me.
I just wonder why everything it is.
What?
Well, no, I was just saying like like how things get sealed, especially with something like that. If it's like a domestic violence type of issue, like how can something like that get sealed? Like you would think that would be one of those crimes that happen that don't get sealed.
I have no idea. And it's very odd. So I guess, you know, she's just like wanting everyone to know that, yeah, not only is he had POS over here, but he's also POS over here and over there. But it is strange that they got sealed.
Yeah.
Consider this an olive branch. I am hereby inviting you on to discuss domestic abuse victims and this entire situation, which you're hung up on, so that we can be very clear, because there's a lot of crossed wires here, I think. If you want to do that, we'll come on. We'll donate any donations that come in to an abuse shelter or a domestic. You choose where you think it should go. And every penny that comes in goes to domestic abuse victims. How about that? This is a official invitation to come on and have a discussion.